funny to me that like being a libertarian is like fake. It's kind of like a fake ideology.
No, you're thinking of leftist because there's no such thing as leftism. See, there's a lot of infighting among libertarians because there's a lot of argument on what makes somebody a libertarian and what falls under the protection of the non-aggression principle. The non-aggression principle being the foundation of all libertarian ideology, the belief that good ideas do not require force, coercion, or censorship of political opposition. Meanwhile, leftist just tells me what side of the political spectrum you're on, and that can cover a wide variety of different philosophies. Which is why leftists are constantly arguing with each other, let alone other political philosophies, on what makes somebody a leftist. Hint, it's not a real ideology.
I never really met a real libertarian. Like, libertarians are just like Republicans who want to smoke weed.
Oh, how original. Where'd you get that? Copy and paste it from the internet? What's next? You're gonna tell me that all libertarians want to get rid of the age of consent with absolutely no evidence to support it? I mean, whether y'all are going to falsely claim that that's been part of the party's platform, which, spoiler alert, it's not, you can look it up, or y'all are going to claim because libertarians want to get rid of the government, that means they also want to get rid of the age of consent, but somehow you don't apply that same logic to anarcho-socialism and anarcho-communism when they also want to get rid of the government. Make it make sense, Kuya?
Like, oh yeah, I just don't want like the government to interfere and stuff. I don't want to pay taxes. I want to be able to buy like everything on the internet. Weed, drugs, people.
Name one libertarian who's actually advocated for human trafficking. I'll wait. Once again, just another leftist treating politics like a fashion statement and accusing libertarians of wanting things that could equally apply to other, more left-wing anarchist philosophy. Though, not all libertarians are anarchists, but depending on how you define libertarianism, all anarchists are libertarians.
Whatever. And then, like, I don't know, the government increases the military budget or, like, the police budget, and they have, like, nothing to say.
Keep telling yourself that, Kuyan. Isn't that libertarians never say anything about it, or is that you selectively choose to ignore it because it doesn't fit your political narrative? Libertarians are constantly speaking out against the police state. There's a reason I have a running gag on my channel where I interrupt thirst traps dressed like Jesus and tell people that that woman is a fed and that women don't exist. And if you want to get down to it, you want to explain to me why Noam Chomsky and Fidel Castro are both listed as accomplices of Jeffrey Epstein, while the only libertarian mentioned in the Epstein files thus far is Ron Paul. And he's not even mentioned as an accomplice, but an obstacle. It's literally Jeffrey Epstein complaining, oh, he doesn't support Israel. He's the only Republican that doesn't want to go to war with Iran. We can't let this guy become president. This is literally Jeffrey Epstein complaining that Ron Paul is the only Republican presidential candidate who he has no dirt on and doesn't support Israel or warmongering in the Middle East. And if I'm correct, it was his son, Rand Paul, who wrote the Justice for Breonna Taylor Act, which would have effectively banned no-knock raids throughout the United States of America under the condition that they are a violation of the Fourth Amendment. And that's just the libertarians who are registered Republican. Within the Libertarian Party itself, Spike Cohen, Chase Oliver, Larry Sharp have all been strong advocates for abolishing qualified immunity for police officers so they can actually be sued when they do wrong. These guys are also constantly raging against police unions that keep dirty cops on the job. It's not that libertarians are silent, it's that you selectively turn away when it doesn't fit your narrative.
Every single time. And you just know, like, a country being run by a libertarian would absolutely fall apart. Just look at fucking Argentina.
Okay, inflation rate goes down as soon as Javier Milei takes off. Same pattern, yet again, and again. Oh, and would you look at that? Libertarianism actually seems to work. See, you're blaming Javier Milei for the conditions he inherited when he took office, like all left. And the reason you're trying to blame him for it is because it was actually socialist policies like those that leftists advocate for that created those conditions to begin with. So when you actually look at the raw data, what we can tell is that Javier Milei and his libertarian policies are doing a fantastic job of cleaning up the mess that leftist policies created.
Just to make fun of Argentina for like falling apart and being racist.
Ah, there it is. Everything you don't like is automatically racist. Seriously, where's the proof that Argentina is full of racists? I'll wait.
Clearly, Donald Trump has to bail them out, because if Donald Trump doesn't give Argentina $20 billion, that country would cease to exist.
First of all, it wasn't a bailout, it was a currency swap. And the currency swap was part of a larger trade deal going on with Argentina. And it's very commonplace within trade deals around the world. We didn't just give Argentina $20 billion. What we did was give them a $20 billion credit line that they could only access when they trade an equivalent value of Argentinian pesos. And thus far, they've only used $2 billion of that, of which they have already repaid. But I get it. If leftists were actually good at economics or understood economics, they wouldn't be leftists. That's why you don't understand what's actually going on in Argentina or what a currency swap is. But hey, at least you didn't make the same mistake that a lot of other leftists make, and that is claiming that socialism saves Argentina. Socialism saves all these corporate entities when they screw up the economy. So you're saying socialism keeps all these billionaires in power? Take the L. You just played yourself. At the end of the day, this is the kind of assumptions you make when you don't ever engage with your political opponents and instead base all of your understanding off of stereotypes provided by your own echo chamber of political dogma. Fun fact, there's actually a word for people who are so obstinately attached to their ideology that they effectively hold prejudice to anyone who's different or is outside of what they have been taught by their ideology. And that word is bigotry, which is yet another word that leftists love to throw around despite clearly not knowing its actual meaning. In closing, people like this are the very reason leftists are starting to lose the culture war, because all they have is stereotypes and misinformation. The bottom line is most people are not political, but they will do their research once they realize that people are using false accusations of racism and misinformation to slander their political opponents, despite the fact that they actually do nothing to actually fix the problems they supposedly care about.